My wife dumped a slice of my birthday cake into the sink in front of everybody. I laughed like it didn't bother me, and then the sink spit back a bright blue parking garage QR receipt that wasn't ours. That was the moment my brain went, oh, okay, so we're doing this now. We were at her sister's place. Packed living room, fake smiles, kids running around like tiny maniacs. Lena was in that, I'm hosting so I'm allowed to be mean mode. I grabbed a second slice of cake because, yeah, it was my birthday and I wanted cake. She clocked it, made this little face, and just slid my plate right off the counter into the sink like I was some random guy stealing food at a cookout. Everybody did that awkward laugh. I laughed too, because what else do you do when your own wife tries to punk you in public? Then I look down and there's this bright blue paper floating up in the dishwater. Crisp, not soggy, not old. Like it had been dropped in there 5 seconds ago. It had a QR code and overnight exit printed on it. I'm standing there holding this dripping receipt and I go, uh, who's handing out parking tickets with the cake? Lena didn't do the normal reaction. No what? No confusion. Just this tiny pause like her brain hit a speed bump. She snatched it out of my hand fast and shoved it in her pocket. That's nothing. Probably yours. Except it wasn't mine. I hadn't been downtown in forever. I'm a creature of habit. My car goes to work, the grocery store, and that's basically it. I tried to let it go. I really did. I told myself maybe it was old. Maybe it got stuck to a plate. Maybe I was just mad because she embarrassed me, and I wanted something to be wrong, but it didn't feel like nothing. Quick thing before I keep going, if you've ever had that weird little wait what moment in a relationship, hit subscribe and drop a comment. I'm not even joking. I want to know if other people have had their stomach drop over some stupid little detail like this. Because once that receipt showed up, everything else started popping up too. Like the universe was tossing breadcrumbs at my head. A couple of days later, I'm doing laundry. Not as a look at me husband of the year thing. Our dryer is old and if you don't watch it, it eats clothes like it's hungry. I'm pulling stuff out and something clacks in the drum. It's this cheap plastic token, like an arcade token. On the front it says Voxbox. On the back, 15 minutes, booth 6. I just stared at it like, what is Voxbox? It sounded made up. Lena walked by, saw it in my hand, and did that same half-second freeze. Oh, she goes too quick. That's probably from when we went out with my coworkers. What coworkers? I asked. She shrugged. You know, people. I didn't know any people. I couldn't name one coworker she supposedly hung out with, and we'd been married long enough that you'd think I'd at least heard a name. Then a few nights later, I'm taking the trash out. The bag rips, because of course it does, so I'm rebagging it and something heavy slides out and hits the concrete. A little brass tag, like a key tag, oval-shaped. It had a number stamped into it and a scratched logo that said Riverside Marina. We don't do marinas. We don't boat. Lena doesn't even like getting her hair wet, so why would we have anything that says Marina on it? And then I flip it over and my stomach drops again. My initials were scratched into the back. J.C. Messy, like somebody did it with a key. I stood there in the driveway holding it while trash juice dripped everywhere, like some gross little metaphor. I brought it inside, but I didn't come in yelling. I didn't want to give her the chance to turn it into a big fight and make me the bad guy for accusing her. I just held it out. What's this? She looked at it like she'd never seen it before, but her eyes gave her away. Where'd you get that? The trash, I said, where it was trying to escape. She did this fake laugh. I don't know. Maybe you got it somewhere. I don't even know what it is, I said, and it's got my initials on it. She hit me with, you probably scratched that on there. And that's when I realized I wasn't going to get the truth by asking nicely. So I stopped asking. And I started paying attention, not snooping, not digging through her phone. I'm not built like that. I'm the guy who loses his own wallet in the house and finds it in the weirdest place later. I wasn't about to go full detective, but I watched. She started running errands and coming back with nothing. No bags, no receipts, no random Target junk. Just her, looking way too put together for someone who supposedly bought paper towels. She started wearing perfume on Tuesdays. Not a normal amount either. Like she wanted it to be noticed. And she kept picking fights over dumb stuff. Like I chewed too loud. Like I left a cup in the sink. Like my existence was an inconvenience. Then came this moment that's burned into my head because it's so specific. Last Tuesday at exactly 6:40 p.m., I was sitting in my car outside our place. I wasn't stalking her. I just didn't feel like walking into the house and getting into another pointless argument. So I sat there with the engine off, messing with the radio like an old man. I see her pull in, except she didn't park. She stopped halfway in, like she was waiting. Then she backed out and drove off. 10 minutes later, she comes back, parks like normal, and walks in holding this tiny paper coffee cup like she just grabbed it on the way home. But there's no coffee place near us open that late. Not close enough to explain that. She saw me and jumped a little. Why are you sitting out here? Just needed air, I said. She nodded like that was totally normal, then walked inside fast. And then, this is the part that still makes me laugh, because it's so dumb. Evidence basically fell into my lap. A couple days later, I find a printed receipt by the printer. Like someone hit print and forgot to grab it. It was from a downtown parking garage, the same style as that blue one from the sink. Same QR code thing, same company. And I knew it came from our printer because the top corner had that streak our printer always does when it's running low on ink. It's like our printer's little fingerprint. The receipt said overnight exit. Exit time, 6:52 a.m. on a Wednesday. Now Lena had told me that night was a late night at her sister's. Fine, people stay late. But an overnight garage downtown with a 6:52 a.m. exit? That's not late. That's you weren't where you said you were. I still didn't confront her right away. Not because I was scared, more because I knew how this goes. If I come at her with one thing, she'll explain it away, and somehow I'm the jerk for even bringing it up. So I waited until I could connect the dots. And the Voxbox token kept bugging me. So on Saturday, I drove to the address on their website. I told myself I was just satisfying my curiosity, but yeah, I needed to see what it even was. It's this strip mall place with little soundproof booths, like private karaoke rooms you rent for 15 minutes. I walk in and I'm pretending I'm interested in lessons or whatever. The kid behind the counter looked like he didn't care if I lived or died. Just chewing gum, barely making eye contact. On the wall behind him is a rack of tokens. Same tokens. And next to the counter, there's this board with Polaroids on it. People take pictures in the booths and pin them up. It's supposed to be cute. I'm scanning the photos without even expecting anything. And then I see her. Lena, smiling in a way I hadn't seen at home in months. Leaned in close with some guy. Not caught in the act stuff. Just comfortable, familiar. The guy's wearing a backwards cap, big goofy grin, arm around her like that's his spot. And under the photo, somebody wrote, Booth 6 Legends, D, just D. My chest got tight. That hot, dizzy feeling where you're trying to act normal, but your body's like, nope. I didn't rip the photo down. I didn't cause a scene. I just walked out like I was on autopilot. That night, Lena comes home acting extra sweet, like over-the-top sweet. Takeout, baby, laughing at my jokes, all that. And I'm sitting there thinking, you don't just wake up and become nice again for no reason. That's guilt behavior. That's please don't ask questions behavior. So I waited until she was in the kitchen, and I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even look angry. I just went calm. I pulled 3 things out and put them on the counter like I'm laying out cards. The printed garage receipt, the Voxbox token, and the brass marina tag. Then I looked at her and said, "Who's D?" She blinked. "What?" "Who's D?" I said again. "And why are you hanging out in booth 6 like you've got a whole second life?" Her face went pale then red, like she couldn't decide which mask to grab. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her voice had that little shake in it. I tapped the receipt. Overnight parking downtown, 6:52 a.m. Then the token. Booth 6, then the marina tag. And this thing, with my initials scratched on it like it's some joke. She stared at the counter, then looked up and tried to flip it on me. "Wow," she says. "So you did all this because you're insecure?" I actually laughed. Just once. Not even mean. More like disbelief. "I didn't do anything," I said. "You did. You just got sloppy." That knocked the wind out of her. She opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. I kept my voice low. "I'm not doing the back and forth. I'm asking you straight. Were you downtown overnight, yes or no?" She didn't answer. "Were you at Voxbox with him, yes or no?" Her eyes got glossy, but still no answer. "Riverside Marina," I said, holding up the tag. "Yes or no?" She swallowed. "Yes." That's all it took. Not the whole story, not every detail, just yes. I nodded like I'd been waiting for a bus, and it finally showed up. Then I said, "All right, I'm done." She started crying for real, and this is the messed up part. My first instinct was to comfort her. Habit, years of habit, but I didn't, because I kept hearing that moment at the party in my head. The cake, the sink, the way she tried to make me the joke in front of everyone. I grabbed a backpack, threw in a couple shirts, jeans, my laptop. I didn't clean the house. I didn't make a speech. I didn't slam doors. I just moved like I was trying not to wake somebody up. When I grabbed my keys off the hook, that marina tag clinked against them. She'd slid it onto my key ring at some point, like she wanted my hand carrying it, like she wanted my initials on it and my life attached to it. I walked out with it anyway, not because I wanted it, because I didn't want her keeping it like a trophy. I drove to a coworker's place and crashed on his couch. Not some dramatic, I have nowhere to go thing. Just, I couldn't be in that house another minute. On the drive, my hands were shaking so bad I had to loosen my grip on the steering wheel. And I kept thinking about how none of this started with some big obvious clue. It started with a slice of cake, a public little humiliation, a receipt floating up like the world was tapping me on the shoulder saying, "Hey man, wake up." And what messed me up the most wasn't even the guy. It was how easy it was for her to lie. then turn around and try to make me feel stupid for noticing. She didn't get caught, she got careless. So yeah, that's where I left it. If you've made it this far, drop a comment and tell me the smallest thing that turned into the biggest red flag for you. And if you want to hear what happened after, because yeah, there's an after, hit subscribe. Because